Hey everyone, welcome to Collector Chatter. The Project Freds have finally been shipping, and they're coming with Freddy's face smashed in.
Is Franny responsible? Who knows? Collecting is the way. Now let's chat.
Hey everyone, welcome to Collector Chatter. This is episode 99. I'm your host, Migs, here with my co-host Charlie, and we are here with another episode. We can't wait to talk about all the great Funko news and some craziness that's going on. Like I said in the intro, the Project Freds are finally finding their way into people's homes. But is this stuff made out of cheap vinyl plastic? Like, what is going on? Because we saw some pictures of the face being completely crushed in on this $300
It's
premium
ridiculous.
goddamn thing. But yeah, we'll get into that and we'll show you some pictures. We'll also talk about some leaks that are coming from San Diego Comic-Con. So we finally have a little bit of a list of like some potential stuff that will be coming out. Some interesting stuff on that list as well. We have a new CEO finally announced
Yeah.
for Funko. We had a lot of talk back in the day when the old CEO, moved on, Brian. And obviously we have a new one coming in. We'll talk about what we think about it and some other stuff, a couple news and some interesting things in the Funko world and the NFT world, a little quote unquote coincidence that we're going to talk about later when it comes to one of the drops as
Yeah.
well. But let's start it off with the Project Fred because
Yeah.
that's where it's like, bro, what is going on?
It's
So yeah, it's an interesting one, and this I feel like has not really gone around too much. Like no
no.
one's really talking about this yet. I'm sure people will once they start seeing it. Um, I haven't seen a ton of people getting the Project Fred yet, but obviously, it's
Yeah.
starting to come out. I'm sure people on the West Coast are.
They already got it because some of them are
There's
going for ridiculous. The chases are
yeah, the
going for ridiculous
chases.
prices.
Yeah. So obviously this isn't something that's happening all the time. But we see this one post and it's just kind of alarming because this is a $300 item plus tax.
Yes.
So it's not cheap. And clearly they sold out with the limited number pieces and whatever they did. So like what's gonna happen with this replacement? But we of course will pop it up, but right off the bat, I know Charlie, you were the one that found this. It was on like a Facebook group. This was actually on what an
An
NFT
NFT group.
like
Yeah.
Facebook group. And it, of course, was of someone who received the Project Fred and they just unboxed it. And like Charlie said in the intro, maybe Franny and Freddie were getting a little, crazy. And it literally looks like, not to get even crazier, like someone sat on his face.
It's unreal. It's ridiculous. Like you said, for a $300 collectible, it's supposed to be like their super plastic premium. I mean, if I got this in the mail this way, come on. Like, it's a joke that Funko is terrible shipping, but it's also like, I don't think this happened from the shipping. This is just terrible
No.
quality control that they allow this to be made and packaged and shipped to a customer. I mean, this
Yeah.
is absolutely a low blow for Funko.
Yeah, the customer actually commented because there's tons of comments. Go to the post just
Yeah.
for the comments. But someone actually commented and he reposted back basically that the box was perfect.
Yeah.
So this was clearly sent that way. The if you haven't seen them being opened, they're obviously in like a really big premium looking box, and they're inserted in one of those like styrofoam black like inserts,
Yeah.
which a lot of good products come like Mischief Toys, Ghastly's come in those, and they always look nice. So we have this Project Fred in there. His head is kind of like exposed, and then the body's covered by another piece of that like styrofoam
It looks
stuff that they
super
use.
creepy.
Yeah, which is weird. But then when you pull that out, you see the body and everything. But with this one specifically, like the body is just fine, but the head is
I just can't stop
completely
laughing at it.
it's completely smashed in, and it didn't get the chase. So imagine if it was a chase, even
Yeah. Oh
crazier.
God.
Um, but
Set
it's
him a
like
new head to pop on the
it's
body.
insane that the head is just completely inverted. He's got a Jay Leno chin coming out the bottom. It's like it's insane, dude. And like I think if this was like a regular Funko Pop, it'd be kind of like funny and like, oh my God, what are they gonna do to replace it?
Yeah.
But when it's this premium item that they went crazy for, it was the first one that dropped. Everyone went nuts because it sold out so fast. It's $300, like all this hype and everything. And we, from the beginning, have said this is pretty much trash when it comes to this actual whole rollout. And to get it and look like that, like people are cracking up saying they're gonna get a $30 like
Credit.
credit and like I don't even know what they're gonna do with this kind of situation because technically, if they're like, if he gets it replaced, that's just there you go. That means they obviously made more. Which I guess for damages, I'm okay when they make more than the
Yep.
allotted number for that specific reason, but I really want to follow up to see what is going to happen with this, and if has anyone else seen any like certain instances like this besides this one guy that we happen to see, because I have seen some people obviously posting the chases going for thousands of dollars and whatever. So like it's clearly been okay to some people, but I don't know. I just think it's wild, and I'm assuming you think the same.
Yeah, and totally. The one thing too, where we always joke are the piece counts fake for Funko. At least these, they come with a certificate of authenticity with a
Yes.
number. So like
Yeah,
that's like
number
a
of the
whole,
piece. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And I would like to think Funko didn't make more than they said they did, but they probably didn't sell all of them. They were smart. They'd keep a few behind, which it's funny you bring up one of our favorite brands, Mischief Toys. I know they do that. Like if a
Hmm.
piece is limited to 250, they do keep a few behind for reasons
Specifically for
like
this. Yeah.
this.
Hmm.
You would have to think Funko's doing that. Because if not, I mean, this person deserves a full refund.
Yeah, it's
And they should
insane.
get to keep the damaged product.
Yeah, and it makes you think because I don't even, dude, I don't even know if I've seen a Funko Pop like look like this. Like yeah,
No,
I know they're vinyl and they are somewhat hollow, obviously, but I feel like they're kind of hard to
this
like
shouldn't happen.
dent or like, now then again, this is a bigger piece, so there's more space and area that you can probably, if you really pushed it, dent it. But like for it to ship out like that, and like I'm hoping this guy can like pop it back, maybe. I don't know. It's just it looks insane. And again, it's more so that what it was, the price that he paid to get this, and just the fact of it looking like this. Like, could you imagine like receiving this and you got it like in an aftermarket? Like that would just be
No.
insane. That's so
Also,
crazy.
too, it's funny you talk about the popping the face out. Like some people are saying that in the product. So try to pop it out, or I know how to do that. Like I wouldn't want to do that for a brand new product that I paid $300+ for.
Hmm.
Like there shouldn't be a workaround to fix this product. It should have came in mint condition.
Yeah, 100% agree. And it's a sad look. It just makes this whole drop look even worse because we already kind of had our doubts on this. And now we're got even more reason to doubt that this was ever going to be a successful, great, product. But
Yeah, no.
yeah, I don't know. But just a funny thing we wanted to mention because, like we said, we haven't really seen too much on it. Obviously, that Facebook group people are going back and forth on it. But we wanted to kind of throw that out there because you guys knew already what we thought about Project Fred and just that in general. But yeah, enough of that.
Yeah,
So
we have to move on.
we're gonna move on to some leaks. I know, like our last episode, we had a bunch of leaks and stuff for certain pops and things that were dropping. This is gonna be specific to SDCC. Of course, San Diego Comic Con's pretty much around the corner, coming this summer, which is gonna be held in San Diego. It's one of their bigger ones. They already had the two first cons, the Chicago one, and they had that pointless Mexico one,
Yeah, with comic
and
releases with new
yeah, common
stickers.
releases re-released random common pops. But now we're gonna get an actual San Diego one, which of course this will lead into fun days and all the craziness that hopefully we get for that event. But we do have a list here of some stuff that was leaked, some pretty big leakers, Scarlet Joker, Funko Info. What's the name of the other page?
Yeah,
Rock Osiris.
that's a
Rook
newer one.
Osiris. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been on some of these posts lately, like the ones we were talking about last
Yeah.
week as well. But yeah, they're obviously like leaker pages that happen to get a lot of this information, and for the most part, they're right, and
Yeah.
they usually get it right. If not right on, it'll be something that comes out later or whatever. But early on, we're getting some leaks of what are some of the exclusives, and what I find interesting about this list is it's kind of a mixture of stuff. We're getting obviously some anime stuff. It's a lot of anime stuff actually, but some of these seem pretty cool. Again, this is just the text, so we don't really have pictures. We don't know exactly
Yeah.
what some of these are. But one of them is a soda, and that's
Yes.
what's even crazier. And I mean, we kind of predicted this when we said sodas are gone; they're gonna be dead pretty soon. But if they do come out, we'll get them in a con, right? We pretty much have been saying that.
Yep.
We didn't get anything in Chicago, but I mean, San Diego and New York are the big
No, we
ones.
did. We did. We got the Jiminy
Oh,
Cricket.
we did get Jiminy Cricket. Yeah, so it really has stuck to the whole. Besides your random one that maybe they happen to just want to get rid of, which was talked about long ago, it seems like they're still coming out with some. And I think you said it before when we were offline. It seems like they're kind of just spilling off extra ones that they kind of already probably had somewhat
Yep,
made or rumored, and they're putting them into the cons versus
which
just
is
being
smart.
regular releases. Yeah, for sure. But we could run through the list and just kind of first thoughts. One of these we actually got an actual official picture of, actually
Yeah.
that first one. So I don't know if you want to run through some of them on the list.
Yeah, so the first one we have is Batman Superman Fusion. DC
Hmm.
Comics, we know we always get um comic heavy ones at the con. I mean, I don't it's just funny that it's Fusion. Should be in Funko Fusion. But I think this pop is whatever.
Yeah, it's the colors and stuff are just like a little wild,
It's a little
and
wild.
it's like really fusion though, because like the logo, which I don't think I've ever seen them
No,
put the bat logo right in the middle of the S of Superman. Like they really went in on this
they
quote
did.
unquote fusion, and I don't know if this exists anywhere in comics. Does it?
I'm
Like
not sure.
this is
I'm
weird.
honestly not sure.
Yeah, very strange.
It probably does, but I don't know if anyone's like begging for this one. Next we have Demon Slayer, Shinobu. I don't know the character. I mean,
Mhm.
we're not Demon Slayer people, even though I feel like, I mean, let us know in the comments too. I feel like the Demon Slayer hype for Funko is pretty much not what it used to be. Would you would confirm? You agree with that?
Yeah, I think once One Piece really blew up, it
Yeah,
kind of became one of the top anime like collections. Like there still is obviously Demon Slayer still is my hero, but they've kind of it again, we could be totally wrong, but it
yeah.
just seems like they've taken a back seat in the Funko world compared to like a One Piece. But yeah, I'm sure if you're a fan, if that's a character they've never made before, let us know if you're excited for that one. Um, and then like, we said the soda that we were talking about is actually a Disney soda, and
Yeah,
it's the bow from the short, which is such an awesome like
amazing.
little short that they've done. It's really cool, really done really well. The story's amazing,
I'm
very
curious how this
emotional.
soda is gonna look like.
Yeah, because the shape of that is nothing like the shape of a soda. So that's an interesting character to take and put into soda. But we do have like the bow, and then there's a Chase is the adult bow. Of course, he's got the glasses and stuff on, and he's
Which is
older.
cool
But
because we don't have a Funko Pop or anything of that.
I feel like they're just gonna make it maybe just not as round, if I had to guess. But that kind
So
of
it's so
if it's gonna
small.
make it look bad.
But I don't.
Well,
Yeah,
we do have isn't there's a pop, one of the smallest sodas is something that's, if I'm not mistaken, something that's
is it
like
the
round
up
in shape or something, isn't there?
the small soda that I can
Maybe what I'm
think
thinking
of
of.
is the version of Carl from Up when he's a kid.
Yeah, that one's
I
pretty
can't.
small.
I
I
think
feel like we have a rounded one. I don't know if I have it out because of all the damn sodas that I have. Well, yeah, the Carl one, yeah, that one is pretty small.
I just this shape and like it's not like I don't see how I'm just really interested in see what this is gonna look like. This is probably one of the very few in this leaked list, and this is only I feel like a small list. We're gonna get
Oh
way
yeah.
more, but I want
Yeah.
this one. I'm just so curious to know what it's gonna look like.
Yeah, definitely, definitely like want to see what it looks like, especially in soda form. It's gonna be, I don't know. I guess we'll see what it comes out as. There's also Dungeons and Dragons, a 6-inch Storm King. I don't know much about D&D, so I don't know exactly what this is, but they've come out with a bunch of different pops, but
Yeah.
especially like 6-inch style and stuff too. Um, and then what else we
Then we
got
got
here?
two Naruto pops.
Mm,
One says TBD, the
yeah.
other is Gara.
Hmm.
Um, it's funny. A lot of these things we're talking about, we're not even really familiar with our fans, but this is the first list we got. And then the other one, which is funny, we've gotten a leaked picture of this. We're getting Sugar
Yeah.
from One Piece. But what's interesting about this one, like this doesn't have a con sticker on it in the leaked one we've seen.
In the picture, yeah. It
Yeah,
does
which
have
is
the scented picture. Scented
yes,
sticker, sorry.
correct. Which is interesting. I'm curious if they'll make a common one that's not scented, and this will be the con one, or it will just always be scented, and that's that.
Yeah. I mean, when you see this kind of thing, it makes you think like sometimes they have these and then they decide like let's put it into the con versus like it's
Exactly.
made for the con type of thing.
Yeah, I do
And
agree with that.
yeah, that just kind of seems like them wanting to get some One Piece stuff in there.
And you're right.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see. And keeping with Funko, they love getting 10-inch Pokemon out there. So we're getting Arceus, another Pokemon I don't really know too much, not familiar. Obviously, the last con they had that big 10-inch one, which I thought was an interesting looking Pokemon. But it was obviously popular enough that it sold out pretty quick, and
Yeah, real quick.
it was something a lot of people went after. They make a lot of 10-inch pops, so that's just another one they're going to add. We have some Stranger Things pops, so we're going to talk about maybe some stuff later of a line of Stranger Things as well. But this is going to be number one, which we do have a
We
number
do.
one already, and
I'm
it
curious
only
if it'll
says
be a
number one.
kid,
So
maybe.
yeah, so it's hard to tell exactly like how this one's going to look, because it's very, there's not much description to what kind of version or anything that they're going to do with that one. But
And then we're going to continue on. It was just the anniversary of Wizard of Oz. We saw all those new pops we got. Now we're getting the Wicked Witch with the winged monkey, which I didn't
yeah,
realize one of the new pops wasn't the Wicked Witch. Or is this like one of those common ones? Did in that new release that just recently came out was the Wicked Witch,
maybe just not
one
with the
of them?
monkey.
Yeah, maybe the monkey is what
Maybe
makes it
that's what's
con.
different. Well, it also says metallic. Is that what it says? That
It
little thing
is,
next
yeah.
to it, which that's a
So
little weird.
yeah, I know. And then this is interesting. We're getting a Wednesday moment,
Yeah.
um, which I don't think they need a Wednesday moment Funko Pop.
Yeah. What does it say what it is? No,
It
right?
doesn't. It says
Yeah.
TBD. I just like I don't know. I
I
feel like
mean, I
Funko
don't
needs to get
maybe.
is someone who liked the moments like at one point. I do think they need to get away from them, or they need to be like I think my favorite moment that of anything I have is episode 3, Anakin versus Obi-Wan on Mustafar. Like that's like iconic. Like they
Mhm.
need to be iconic, not just like I love Wednesday, but nothing about it is iconic enough, in my opinion, to already deserve a Funko Pop moment.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if when we see the moment, maybe it's something that we're like, oh yeah, that was
You're
pretty
right.
cool
I
and it
could
was
be.
whatever, but it is a little random. I was looking something up while you were saying that because I could have swore I remember seeing this. And of course, we talked about the Wizard of Oz line coming out, and it was clearly just almost just like a reprint version, getting new ones of like these really OG pops. Like these lines have some hitters in like the original Wizard of Oz line,
Yeah.
and there is a winged monkey version, an old one, which is actually metallic, and it's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. And when you were saying metallic, I was like, don't they make one in metallic? When I was
Interesting.
thinking about that, yeah, it's like $3,000. Like this thing is a
Oh,
480 piece. It's
that's
like one of
mad grill.
those. Yeah, those legit OGs. It's actually number 9 in the movies line. So this is
Oh
like
wow.
OG. And then they even redid a winged monkey with a chase where he's metallic and it's like 1,000 piece, 1,500 piece, whatever. So like
Okay.
that's clearly like a thing, I guess, that they keep doing. So now we're gonna get like the witch with the monkey, which I don't think they've ever done that, if I'm not mistaken. I
No,
think it's
I'm
only
looking
been
right
one or the
now.
other.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I did find it interesting when it said metallic, but then when I started looking back, I was like, well, clearly they keep doing that with the monkey
Which I
thing.
guess is
But
pretty cool. That's a good thing to have brought up. Like maybe that will be a desired pop because of that reason.
yeah, I wonder how this line, because the line already came out, like the common version of
Yeah,
this
it
line,
did.
and I wonder how it's selling because obviously those OG ones, like I said, they're really, really like hard to get and
Yeah.
super expensive and sought after. So redoing them is, I wonder if those fans really like that or not. And yeah, the last one is a Yu-Gi-Oh one, Flame Wingman. Don't know much about Yu-Gi-Oh, so if you guys are excited for that, let us know. A lot of anime heavy in
Yeah.
this, at least this little batch. I'm sure we'll get more stuff. We'll probably get some Marvel pops, more movies and shows and stuff. San Diego loves kind of hitting all types of fandoms, but it's just cool to see like a list at least coming out there, something early, something that's going to get us
Agreed.
exciting. Once we start getting those lists of like the fun days and the Freddies and those things, maybe we'll start, really getting hyped up for at San Diego Comic Con, which will be coming up pretty soon. But yeah, that'll be it for those leaks. And we'll switch over to some more Funko corporate related news. And this is, of course, the announcement of the new CEO, which we knew was kind of coming. We had that
Yeah.
guy, I already forgot his name, who was basically acting
Yeah,
CEO
he
for
was
a
an
little bit
interim.
of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we knew that was kind of
He clearly didn't
probably.
do a good job.
Yeah, we knew one of two things was going to
Yeah.
happen. Obviously, he was either going to crush it and be promoted up to an actual CEO, or they were going to be like, "Yeah, thanks for holding it down, and we're going to move on." And clearly,
That's what
that's the
happened.
route that they went. Uh, you know, we've gone back and forth. We know the company's kind of been in a crazy roller coaster. It's not in the best place, even though it's been almost probably worse and it's gone up, but it's not getting back to its heyday, and they definitely needed a change. So not surprised by making a drastic change. I am surprised kind of like the route that they went, and I guess we'll kind of go back and forth on what we think this means, or is this positive or not. In history and historic sense is big for Funko being the first female, to be
Yep.
like up there as CEO running this company. And of course is Cynthia Williams, right? Is her
Yep.
last name?
Yep.
And it's funny because every time I hear her name, I just think of the Gas video where they kept putting up her
Yeah.
picture every time they said her name. It's hilarious. Uh, but yeah, she of course has history in being running companies and CEO and heads of different areas with different types of companies. The latest one is of course the Wizards of
Of the Coast. So
Coast. Yes,
that's like Magic the Gathering we're getting from that card games and whatnot. And she's also, worked just for Hasbro. So she has a toy
yeah,
background, also in gaming, tabletop games. So
the
she's even worked for
Xbox.
Xbox. So she does have a lot of, I don't think she's ever been the CEO of a company, but she's been high leveled up executive. And clearly she's in the fandom, nerd type um avenue. So she's familiar with toys and collectibles. So I mean, I don't know enough about her, and so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of some people don't like her. Like, I don't think the Gasso cast thinks was a good move. But it's good they brought in someone who has experience in my opinion, within the industry and has contacts. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I
I mean,
don't think,
she's
yeah,
she's got to have some connection, and obviously, she's never really ran this type of company. Like you said, yeah, she's had parts of Hasbro or whatever,
yeah,
but like, who knows where her real position? It seems like really when people are like think of her, they think of this whole Wizards of the Coast thing. Like that's probably where
yep,
she really made her name. I'm assuming. She helped run all that stuff with the Magic, like you said, and a few other like games and things that came out and under her, like while she was there. Some of it was successful, some not. It's like it's kind of a slippery slope to know like exactly like to say she's a reason or not.
yeah,
But it seems like one thing, like you said, yeah, the Gastelcact, I know we were talking about. They obviously had a pretty long video talking about her, and some things that they brought up, which I kind of side with them on this sense, is that it seems like she's really like a person that is looking to grow the company in the sense of like wealth and money and
yep,
making sales, right? Which every company wants that. And that, of course, is what, a CEO essentially could really should be doing and driving the company. But it's just like I don't know if like that's a good thing or a bad thing, I guess you could say, especially with where the state of Funko is and where it was and like what true collectors want Funko to be. It almost seems like they're gonna be try to become that bigger toy company that we didn't want them to be when
yeah.
they kind of almost were like doing that and then they suddenly like really crashed. I don't know, like do you think that way, or do you think because from what I'm getting, obviously we don't know much about her.
Yeah.
From what I'm getting, she's not like the collector type. Like I don't think she's like gonna be like that mindset. I think she's just gonna be strictly business. And I don't
Agreed.
know if that's like a good or bad thing, though, is what I'm saying. Like I don't want to say totally one way or the other.
See, I think it's a good thing. And another company I think she's actually worked for is Amazon. She has worked for big corporations, successful ones. You don't get to work for all these different types of companies if you don't have a good track record, in my opinion. Um, but I do agree with you in terms of she's been brought in here to right the ship from a business perspective. But I also do think this is going to elevate someone like Mike again in the creative side and be the face. She is going to be what most CEOs of companies are. Unless you're like a media company or like Tim Cook, for example. She's not going to probably be coming to the cons. She's going to be kind of what Andrew was when he was the CEO for a little bit
Hmm.
when he took over for Brian, but I think Mike is going to be to the fans and people who don't care about business, like he is going to be the person who's in charge of Funko. And
Yeah,
I do think that's where it'll succeed. Like I think she will take um she will listen to someone like him and the other people on the board. Um, some ideas she may crush, unfortunately, because they're not good for the business. But I don't think she's going to be this lame duck who ruins the company or tries to turn them into this massive toy company again. Like, that didn't really work for them. I don't
yeah,
really see them bringing in another person to try to do that again.
yeah. No, and I agree. I don't think it would be smart on Funko's end on like
Yeah,
making a decision for someone to do that. But like once they're there, like don't they kind of run with what they want to run with? And dollars
they
obviously
do, but she'll look
speak.
terrible if she tries to repeat a plan that her predecessor did and it just crushes again. Like,
Yeah,
I actually think there's a lot of pressure on her. You mentioned this before, not that this matters, but she's a female CEO. I don't know how many female CEOs there are in the toy industry. So
yeah,
like just eyes or balls are gonna be on her for that reason alone. And everyone knows the darling Funko was. We talk about all the time, the roller coaster it's had. I think she's under a lot of pressure, and I don't think she'll screw it up just for the sake of like her ego or trying to make money.
yeah, yeah. I would like to think that's the route that she's gonna go and the company will go.
It's better
But
than a
but
broading in someone who, in my opinion, has no experience in this industry. Like I think that she clearly said something to impress the board.
yeah, yeah, I do. I wonder because initially I don't see the connection as much, but I mean it's there obviously. Like clearly she wasn't coming from like being a CEO of Hasbro, for instance, or being a
Yeah,
CEO of like a full blown toy company. Like she was more on like a niche like cards and like whatever. And obviously, maybe that brings into Funko, which Funko obviously has the NFT side and they have other things too. So like could kind of tie into that. But initially, like I don't know what freaking what's his name who was in it before, or the guy who was filling in for Brian the second time, like if they had any experience with toys
yeah. I think they were
necessarily,
more
and
just
like,
suits.
yeah, there's exactly. So like that's gonna probably be who your CEO is. Not when you're a startup company like Brian did and everything, like that's different. Like you're running the company that you started and you love and you have passion, whatever. But like when you become this big and you're like
Yeah,
publicly traded and everything, at that point you need suits up there. You need people who are just business people that don't necessarily have to they're not the face like Mike's going to be and the people who are coming up with all these creative ideas. But it just, I would hope she's just smart enough to get the right people into her. I guess you could say like
agreed.
hiring the right creative people, getting better artists, getting people who are better with, shipments and things that they've had issues with. Like hopefully she can oversee that and she knows what a company needs when it comes to that. Not necessarily like the actual product per se, because there's a team that probably will handle that, you
Agreed.
would think, right?
Like it's her
So,
job to assemble a team that can execute her vision, but they also she can trust them with their jobs. I actually think Brian, as much as I did love him at one point, I think his, kryptonite ultimately led to he probably had a massive ego and he wanted to do everything and he didn't care about other people's opinions. And if shit went hit the fan, he probably blamed other people, never took responsibility. And he ultimately, you know, we all know what happened to Brian.
yeah,
Um, so I think that's where this will be different. She will be more hands off and she'll hire people because there's going to be more changes in this company. I feel like Mike probably and hopefully is the only true safe person at a higher level. She's probably going
hmm,
to pick her own team, you would think.
yeah, yeah. So I would assume like in that high level, it's somebody, people that she's probably gonna want to be comfortable with building the company from that side. But I mean, let us know what you guys think.
Yeah.
Is this something good for Funko? I mean, I think a change is good regardless for Funko, especially from where they are. And, clearly whoever was running it before, it just wasn't really going anywhere. It was kind of just been mediocre. Obviously, we see still a lot of issues that we've been seeing, and we haven't seen a lot of changes. We have seen some changes, but they don't seem to be for the better. We've seen some ideas that they're coming out with that just don't make sense. So it's still kind of a little bit of a mess that I'm sure she has to get going, and hopefully we can see some more success from Funko as a company. Um, so we'll move on to some. Actually, before we go to the line, I wanted to bring this up because this is something that I was laughing about. Because I told you that this definitely seems like something that was totally
Yeah.
fixed. And I mean, let us know what you guys think, but I mean, you'll see. So obviously, the latest NFT redeem period, whatever, started, and it's for the Squid Game Funko NFTs. And I'm still really salty and pissed because I was looking for that royalty, and then I was like 3 cards away, I think, 3 episodes away, and I completely forgot that it was being redemption time. And then the time came up, and I went and bought
Yeah,
a
it
bunch of cards
sucks.
beforehand to get there and didn't even make it. But yeah, that royalties, the price going down a little bit, so I might still try to grab it. But anyways, all the redemptions came out, and obviously we know that there's certain numbers and the actual ones and coins that get redeemed. Clearly, I wasn't the only one that didn't get to redeem stuff because like half of the grails actually, right? Actually, yeah, about half, a little less actually, of the grails were redeemed. And the whole thing about this, if you guys now have seen Squid Game, is of course that show takes place where there's 456 members, which I always thought was a random number, but that
Oh,
amount of people go into the game. Everyone's numbered 1 through 456, and they compete in the game. And the grails, of course, are 999 pieces for the most part, except for like
yep.
the random one-offs, right? Uh, this one supposedly well, it does have, but it's 456 are shown as how many people redeemed. And people are posting, it's like, did you notice the redemptions, the grails, 456? That's the same amount of players that were in the game. That's pretty cool. Oh my God, that's so cool. Da, 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 da. And like everyone's like, no way. And like, how's no one like being like, this is definitely rigged? like, like the I mean, if that's a coincidence, that is the most wildest coincidence I think I've ever seen of anything. And I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that like that many people really did, or maybe that many people were doing it and then they like stopped it. I don't know. This just seems way too crazy. Do
I
you
mean,
think
I
this
agree.
is real?
No, I agree with you because, and if anyone knows, let us know in the comments if I'm wrong. But I mean, you can see how many were actually pulled that are in people's accounts on the blockchain. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe there is a way of actually seeing how many were redeemed anywhere officially.
Besides drops
Yeah, like
number that when
exactly. Like
you
I
when you
don't
get the
that
coin,
yes, because that information doesn't um
which is a
live because
fishy statement.
yeah, because if you still get the coin, you still have that NFT. So
Mhm.
that was minted and you have it and you didn't burn it. So like let's just say you had the girl and you didn't redeem it, you still would have that NFT. And that isn't saying if it was redeemed or not. That information, I could be wrong once again, but please let me know if you know otherwise. That doesn't live anywhere on the blockchain for you to track it back because they don't actually care about that. The whole redeeming factor is just for, dropping Funko for us to get our physicals.
Mhm.
So with that being said, I agree with you. I feel like someone thought this was like hilarious. Like what a great mark. Like did get buzz. People were talking about a drop that no one cared about anymore, really. And they made a post about it. So, I mean, yeah, I think that is just way too big of a coincidence.
It yeah, it just is, and it's like it's such a random number to be exactly what, you know, is actually being redeemed to like. Like I want to believe it's like cool.
So
It's
do
it's like
I.
it also makes that grail and everything even cool. Like I'm trying to log in real quick to see if I can see what that is like currently valued at because I wonder if that's like been affecting it because clearly if you're a Squid Game fan, first of all, if you pull the grail, it's usually pretty awesome to get the
Yep.
grails,
And that
obviously
one
they're
was
usually
cool.
the most expensive. That one was definitely cool. But if you're getting it, being a fan, and then knowing that it's literally numbered at that, which technically that's what they should have probably numbered it at if it wasn't such a low number, because they did that with the year of is it Stranger Things, or which one's the one that
No, for the
it's
Star
number?
Wars one. Star Wars one.
Yeah, Star Wars, which was the year.
Yeah.
They like numbered it off of the year. You would that's like a cool way, but obviously that one it's a lot higher of a
Yeah.
number. This is only 456,
You
which
have
is
that girl, don't
pretty
forget.
low. Yeah, I do have that girl. But I'm checking right now. So this one currently, uh, oh, I can't see it because it's already being redeemed. Wait, why can't I go down? Oh yeah, because I can't buy the
What the value of it? Let me go see.
yeah, like I can't buy. Do you have the girl?
No, I'm going pop price guy and see what.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because obviously on drop it'll show, but it shows it until the royalty set. Then after that, you have to like basically just go into like drop and stuff. I guess I can go to the marketplace, but yeah, it's just interesting because I want to know if like is it really like way less? Or actually, I think I could see it here.
350 is the
So
value right now, I think.
yeah, 330 is
Okay.
on marketplace on drop. Okay. So that's pretty high. I
Yeah.
don't think it started there. I think this is definitely moving up. Yeah, the Freddie royalty was actually down to 96, and that was at like 100 and something. So that one's obviously going down. Um, but yeah, 330 for a grail, which there are some grails that are, in that range, but it definitely seems like it's going up, and it's probably because of that whole cool aspect that's the number.
Yeah.
And then again, now people have to actually redeem it. So how many are 456 people actually going to get the physical pop, or are some of them going to forget and not realize and not redeem it? Then that's obviously going to always affect the number, which we've gone back and forth on how that works. But I just thought it was a one of those things that we just won't ever really know. I guess, like you said, I don't know if there's anywhere that this stuff lives where we can like fully prove that
You
like
know what,
that many people
actually?
actually did it.
I'm now having a
Isn't
huge
there
brain
that
fart.
website that
There
shows
is,
like
but now for some reason I thought people already did redeem all of them. So they're not lying, actually. I
no
don't
no,
think.
so this is how many people
Yes, I just
actually got
got
it
it. Yes,
and
because
actually put in like they opened it.
exactly. Now that we're like fully investigating this, I was incorrect when I was just thinking it was done with. This should be right. There is a way of checking this because you can see how many coins were
Have given out.
have been given out.
But see, that's what I was also kind of saying, like it could have been like stopped.
You,
Like you
you
know what I'm
can't.
saying? Like,
Yeah, but we can't like
well,
that's the
unless
whole point
the
of the
only way it stops is
blockchain.
the time, right? The
Yeah.
the time
It,
that you can redeem
yeah.
it.
So we can actually see if that's true or not.
I'm assuming it is. I mean, if that's the case too, then clearly they wouldn't be able to
Yeah,
hide
but
this.
they may not realize that well, you're right. That
I don't
mean
know. I don't know.
most
It just
people
is.
who do Funko
It's a
NFTs
crazy
know.
coincidence then, if that's the case, and it's definitely a cool one. Like I said, it makes it even more valuable in my eyes. Like it's like it actually has meaning now versus
But here's
like
what's
just
gonna
a nine
happen. That
ninety
is not
nine
the
or
amount
something
that
like
will
that.
actually be redeemed.
No, exactly, and that's what I meant. Like, there's
Yeah.
obviously gonna be less, but that also is crazy because if there's 999 of them, 456 is already, like I said, cutting that in half, and then less of those are probably gonna physically be given to people. This is gonna be a pretty rare
Yeah.
grail, like
I guess I
pretty
don't
rare.
remember. I mean, that drop did pretty bad, I guess. So
Yeah,
long ago
because
now.
that's the thing. Not many
A lot of
probably
packs were
stuff got
burned.
burned, and yeah, like so clearly these numbers have just been dwindling down every step of the way of this process. But yeah, I mean, I just thought that was a pretty cool little coincidence. And being a fan, like it made it a little bit more exciting to have that number.
I'm gonna look into this now and see what I can find.
You have to check it out. We do want to talk about a line that we love, Stranger Things. there's a little bit of a wave. You want to run through some of the like the leak pictures? So it looks like it's
Yeah,
the back of a box,
it's
which is like a
pretty.
wave.
Actually, these are pretty sick for the most part. We're getting Chrissy when she's like being elevated, when Vecna's about to like offer, and
Hmm.
like blood's coming out of her eyes. This pop is pretty sick. We're getting a mic of him holding the painting that Will
Yeah.
makes him, which this is a nice little tie into the NFT collection. It's cool that they made this, and I would like to think now that those NFT molds will forever just be NFT molds, which is super cool. We're getting Vecna pop kind of when you see him first, no longer look like his, I guess, human self,
Hmm.
turning into what we all, the villain that he turns into be. This pop is super cool.
Yeah, really
We're,
good.
we're getting a Murray pop, which we don't have one, which is ridiculous that they've never made a Funko Pop of him because he is such a like fan favorite.
What are your thoughts that they just redid the other like the hopper and
Yeah,
like the same mold and everything?
I agree with that because
Especially with him. Like he's a cool character. Like why would
this
they
isn't his
not just make
iconic
one of him?
moment.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. Um, but yeah, they shouldn't have done that because this is not his iconic. But the problem is, it's from this season.
Yeah.
Like the one thing they've always done, like I wish he should have got one earlier on.
Yeah, they drop in seasons, that's true.
And then this 2-pack is cool, but like this is the only one that like we don't really need, in my opinion, with of Max and Lucas. Not that it's not cool, but I kind of wish it was just maybe just the Max Pac because the Luke, I know they're holding like the notes, but there's nothing special about the Lucas Pop. That's basically the common, minus him holding that piece of paper.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, overall, great line. I mean,
Yeah,
all the Stranger Things pops are always really cool. They make so many of them now at this point. For a little while, I was really like a hardcore completionist with the first season,
damn, it's too
kind of
hard.
into the second, and then after that, I just kind of like fell off because there's just too many. Um, but yeah, great job. The Vecna one looks so sick, and the Mike one is really cool. Like, if you really like the show, like that's such a great moment. Chrissy one looks awesome, and like you said, the Murray one's like obviously we needed to get one. I just kind of wish it wasn't this version exactly, just because we have, like I said, like we pretty much have this exact same mold with the other two.
No, you're
That
totally
which was a
right.
2-pack, right?
Y-
With the hopper.
Yep, yep.
So, but cool to have the line either way. And, Stranger Things obviously will be coming back for its final season now. So I'm sure we'll get stuff for that season and, get the build up
I feel
when
like
that
they will
starts
milk
getting.
the final season Funko Pops like you've
Yeah.
never seen before, which is crazy to think for Stranger Things because it already is.
Yeah. I know. They've been just growing every season, like more and more of them. Um, the last thing I wanted to bring up though is something pretty cool because it has to do with you and getting a little lucky,
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Uh,
So unlike the Project Fred, which we both thought was trash, I thought the Jumbo Chan Freddy was super cool. Kind of talked about it in our last previous whenever episodes. I really liked it because Mike was super passionate about it, and as being a big Mike fan, entered that lottery and I won. So I'm super pumped about that. That I'll be adding that to my collection, and hopefully he comes fully intact and he's as premium as they say he's supposed to be, which it's interesting because as we were obviously in the beginning of this episode talking about the Project Fred, a lot of people have been saying that this is such a higher quality figure. It's way cooler because people have already seen this if you went to Chicago Comic-Con because it was there
yeah.
on display. It was cheaper than Project Fred. It looks cooler. It's made better.
Yeah, that shit
What
looks
is
like
going on?
Freddy.
Yeah, it looks like Freddy. Like I also think it's cool because it really seems it's a part of a new initiative for Funko where the Project Fred, it's too easy to compare the two. Like you just have to because they're Funko's
Yeah, they came out right
premium.
around the same
Yeah.
time. They're high price point. They're obviously Freddy-esque. Like, but yeah, this one was clearly the better one. And it's weird that like the other one was the one that they really pushed and they had these
Yeah,
events
that
and
stupid event.
they got all these like quote unquote celebrities and like influencers to like be a part of it. And it just I think they just overdid that to really try to con people into like thinking it was gonna be legit because it clearly wasn't.
No, and
And I
one
don't know.
one thing that's crazy too, which I don't know if you ever watched it, but they Instagram lived the panel,
Yeah,
which if you did you watch it?
some of it.
Well, I don't know if you got to the part to remember there was when they were giving the presentation, that girl who now like works for Funko,
Yeah.
and Mike's up on stage and he's like, I'm ready to like show you something. And the next slide is Project Fred. And it was not supposed to be that. She like messed up the presentation. And the
Oh, I
look
didn't see
on
that
his
part.
face was just like,
Like it leaked too fast, everything.
no, he was just like Project Fred. Like, I don't want to talk about Project Fred. I want to talk about my new figure that I'm loving, this Jumbo Chan Freddy.
Oh, I see.
She
I know
was
what you're talking
like,
about.
all right, we're about to show, like, Mike, are you ready for this? And then he's
But
like,
what was the
yes.
one that they showed?
They
Like the
just they just put up the Project Fred logo.
just in general. Okay,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think it was kind of just giving an update of like
Like
what
this is
Funko's been
coming.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he looked annoyed, which like brings me back to like,
I
and
fe-
then
I just real quick, just to not forget my thought on this. I feel like I don't know if this is like I feel like Mike is like not as involved as he should be. Like I feel
agreed.
like he's always around, but he's not like they don't have conversations with him or meetings with him. He just pops up and like
Agreed.
things go different ways. Isn't that like kind of what you feel?
I
Like
do.
with a lot of these things that have happening, it's kind of like he's the person that they didn't want to invite or talk to or tell the, like this is our plans, but we got to have Mike come in here and do his thing. And then they go to the plans and Mike's like, what the hell? I didn't think we were doing this. I feel like that's been happening a lot, like with cons and like he
It's been
does his own
happening a
little
lot.
thing, but it seems like he gets caught off guard a lot lately. And I just feel like
Yeah,
I don't know,
because
it's
they're
too
they're
much of a
clearly not
coincidence.
explaining stuff to him.
Yeah, like
And
he's not as involved as like we really think he should
should
be,
be.
or
I think it was easier when it was. It's so funny because I'm a hypocrite for saying this. We were all about. I think Funko should give it influencers a chance to promote their product. This, and that. I think it's absolutely annoying now. Um, as much as I didn't like their hired help, I think you just needed the right
yeah. I
hired
mean, I think
help.
they were yeah, I was gonna say I think they were worse, but not the idea of that. Yeah,
Exactly. They need to be getting the right hired help, in my opinion. And then I think Mike would be more on the same page. He would, be talking to them at work. They're not just people for hire. And the influencer stuff at this point now, for me, comes across so fake.
yeah. This is
Like,
kind of where it really started too. Speaking
yeah,
of Project Fred, like that's kind of where it just like really took a turn of like cringe and just
so cringe. And there's even
not
some of the
original.
creators I like, but like, I just see them talking like the Project Fred, it's the greatest figure they've ever made. I'm like, dude, no, it's not. And you know it's not. I know you're
Yeah.
getting paid. And like they didn't really do that with the Jumbo Champ because I think it just spoke for itself, is
Yeah,
what I'm getting at.
they didn't do it at all. Yeah, it was just like really like, talking, passionate about it. They got to show it a little bit of the con. And I was like, all right, cool. There's another way. I just think what made it like just a bit off and odd is that like these were like essentially back to back, and that's where it was like they should
Yeah,
clearly we are passionate enough to think like Project Fred never should have existed and it should have just been this. But I feel like one of them should have had more time to breathe to where then you could just
agreed.
come out with more. And not clearly this still sold. There was still a lot of hype behind it. It's the first one, but I just feel like there was a lot of wasted. Like I'm sure some people got the Project Fred and spent more money than this one was, and then after the fact, they were like, damn, I could have probably just try to get this other one because it's better. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm sure people went after both, but
of
for the
course.
most part, I would assume, that's not everybody. So like you obviously were smart enough to be like, I'm not
Yeah,
trying for this. I'm going for that channel. You actually got it. So that's cool. And like we said, this is potentially something that might grow and have more. We haven't heard anything, and I'm okay with that. I'm glad they're not overdoing it like they did the
yeah.
Project Fred, because then we got a second drop like super fast after.
And two of them in that
And
second drop.
yeah, yeah, two different versions, and it was just like, come on, it's just really trashy. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just it just makes you think like this was a passion project of Mike, and they just allowed him to do it. But I feel like they probably weren't going to if he didn't probably like speak up, I feel like in a way.
I
And
I
they
agree
wanted
with
to
you.
just push to Project Fred, and maybe that was not something
I
that he
think
was
Mike
really
is
about.
actually underappreciated at Funko. And I actually think that goes back to you only really, you can fake it till you make it. Clearly, him and Brian didn't like each other anymore. I think their relationship soured at the end. Brian kind of tried to push Mike aside. Now that Brian's gone, I feel like they need to realize like Mike is it. I
Yeah.
mean, even though he sometimes does look unprepared, he's willing to go talk with these influencers. He's going to these cons. I mean, he went to that con in Mexico, which isn't really a con. Like, he's coming up with cool ideas. I think this fun days is going to be pretty sick. He's pumping up the fun days. And one thing too to mention, which um if you guys are listening today when the podcast came out and you were lucky enough to get some of the Fun May NFTs, you have a chance to get a win a freaking ticket to Fun Days in that.
Yeah.
Which let me tell you, I can bet you that was Mike's idea. And that's super cool that they're doing that. Those are smart business decisions because people now are probably going to try to get these packs that I think this is sellout regardless, but they're going to try to get these Fun Day tickets. I mean, it's legitimately like Willy Wonka and the
Yeah.
Chocolate Factory.
It was definitely a
I
smart idea.
super cool.
And they should have always kind of done something like that, especially with the big cons.
Yeah.
And this is a great way to push a different product, but keep excitement and then get you to get something that's actually fun and awesome to be able to go to this, event and stuff. So that makes it way more exciting. Uh, but I think that'll do it for the
Yeah.
episode. This was episode, of course, 99. We are only one episode away
Yeah.
from the big 100, which, we've kind of teased for a little while that was going to be a pretty big deal, pretty big stuff happening for 100. I mean, we feel pretty excited for what we have going, coming for 100 and onward after that, as
Yeah.
you'll see. But um, this was a fun episode with some some craziness out there, with the damn Project Fred dented face to the different lines, San Diego leaks, and even the CEO, and what that's going to bring to Funko going forward. But we'll be here continuing to talk about all these great things. Love to hear from you guys. If you're watching here on YouTube, please make sure you like the video. Comment down below. We've kind of lost people that used to comment. If you're
Yeah.
watching, send us a comment. Let us know, your thoughts. We love to kind of engage with you guys. Make sure this, the video is getting a little bit of traction, and push it out there as much as you guys can. And subscribe if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel already. We are, kind of trying to get on our way up as much as we can. But I'm excited for 100 and what it has to bring. Hope you guys are as well. And Charlie will let you guys know where to obviously follow us and all the good stuff on social media and everything. If you're listening over on the podcast, thank you guys as well over on Spotify and Apple. But yeah, you can let them know.
Yeah. So if you haven't already, could you please follow us over on Instagram at Collector Chatter and then at pop_Migs and at Collector_Charlie. And if you're listening on those podcast platforms, like follow us on there. Also leave us a review. You can just, some of the platforms have stars. You can actually write some stuff that helps us get discovered on those platforms as well. And then come on over to YouTube, subscribe. Like Mick said, make sure you're commenting, like this video, and hit that notification bell so you know when new videos come out. And one thing too, even if sometimes I know people are like, oh, I like to listen on the podcast platforms, not YouTube. YouTube actually has podcasts now. So we have the podcast on YouTube where you can just listen to it. So you don't need to worry about if you don't have the want to look at the visuals or because you're driving or
Yeah.
whatnot. So you can help us out on the YouTube platform as well by still listening to the podcast. And once again, thank you for getting us to episode 100 that'll be coming. Like Meg said, we're super excited. We hope just to continue to grow. We love doing this and just keep up the comments. We love talking to people. Even if you want to just shoot us messages on Instagram as well. Same thing, and give us ideas of new things we want to talk about. I know we have a kind of a format going on, and back in the day we used to just do some topics. Sometimes we feel like we've exhausted the topics, but let us know. There could be something that we're not even thinking of that you guys would love to hear our opinion on. Because I think going episode 100 now, we're going to come up with some new things to do as well, which I'm excited about. But with that being said, everyone, until the next episode, collecting is the way. Later.
Bye, everybody.